Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is Islam and the African American experience. And we're fortunate to have with us to talk about Islam and the African American experience, Dr. Al-Hadid. And of course, Dr. Al-Hadid is the former chairperson of the Africana Studies Department at Tennessee State University. Of course, let me welcome you this morning to the show, Dr. Al-Hadid.
Thank you, Dr. Haney.
And to tell you, Dr. Al-Hadid, how delighted we are truly to have you here this morning and to talk about the topic that we're to talk about this morning, because I think we've dealt with Islam and we've dealt with other religions and the impact that it has had on the United States and et cetera. But here I think we have an opportunity to talk about Islam and the African American experience, and for you to enlighten us in reference to some of those things. Why don't you take about a minute or two, Dr. Al-Hadid, to simply state who you are in your situation, because I think that everybody probably know your biographical information, autobiographical information. And so why don't you just give us a few statements, and then we'll start talking about Islam and the African American experience.
Yes. Well, I attended Alabama State University and I received a bachelor's degree in sociology and a minor in psychology, and left there and went out to California, where I got my doctorates in sociology, emphasis on social psychology and political sociology. While at the University of California at Santa Barbara, I had a chance to go to East Africa, where I studied at the University of Nairobi. And while I was in Nairobi, I went to a mosque, and then I became officially, a Muslim. And I also had an opportunity to make the pilgrimage to Mecca during that period of time. And then when I got back into the United States, I studied again at University of California, Santa Barbara, and did all my coursework, and got a job at Tennessee State University, where I worked there for 35 years, and I retired this year in January. And so I'm just sort of like enjoying retirement and appreciating all the great work that you're doing with your show.
And still, in excuse me, Dr. Al-Hadid, and still in a real sense disseminating information. It really doesn't matter whether you are active or whether you're retired, you're always involved in the dissemination of knowledge.
Absolutely.
And so let's continue that by dealing with our topic this morning, dealing with Islam and the African American experience. Where would you start dealing with that?
Well, it's so much, but let me start here. Let's start in 1964, spring of 1964, when Malcolm X made the pilgrimage to Mecca. And then after he completed that fifth pillar of Islam, he reported to African American and America that America needs to understand Islam. Okay. Because it is the one religion that has completely erased racism from its society and from its culture. So I want to start at that point. Now, let's analyze that proposition. How is it that Islam was able to do that? Well, let's go back to the 7th century, when Islam first emerged in Arabia. What were the conditions of Arabia in the 7th century? Arabia was a backward society. People were worshiping idols. They were engaged in all type of debauchery. They were oppressing women. Slavery and racism were just running rampant. And so when the message of Islam came to the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, in 610, conditions start to change. And Islam is a religion that is, in a certain way, a continuation of the Abrahamic faith. As you know, Abraham gave birth to 3 religions. The first one was Judaism through Moses, who brought the message to the Israelite people. And the second was Christianity through Jesus, who brought the message to the Gentiles and spread throughout the Roman Empire. And then 600 years after Jesus, we had Muhammad to bring Islam, which spread throughout the Arabian Peninsula and then North Africa, and went as far as China and West Africa, and also up into parts of Europe. It's a very simple religion. The first pillar is that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his last and final messenger. And as Muslims, we are obligated to pray 5 times a day, sort of following the cyclical changes of the sun. There's a dawn prayer, a noon prayer, an afternoon and sunset prayer and night prayer. And then, of course, we're obligated to give 2.5% of our income in charity. That's the third pillar. The fourth pillar is what is going on right now. We're in the month of Ramadan, where Muslims will fast from dawn to sunset. They will not eat, drink, or engage in conjugal relations.
And of course, Dr. Al-Hadid, you know that it's time for our first commercial break.
Yes, sir.
That I'm interrupting you and breaking
No
in
problem.
order that we might be able to do that.
Sure.
And of course, we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.